In today's High Watt Soundbite, the topic is tuning. So in today's session, I want to share a couple of ideas about tuning, and that if you're willing to take the time up front to fine-tune your master before you start to mix, you will literally arrive at a mix that sounds twice as good in half the time. So let's jump right in. It's time to get in tune. And so this is something I overlooked for years. And now I'm not talking about like a bum note in a guitar solo or a little bit of a pitchy vocal line. Those types of tuning and pitch issues are usually loud and clear that they have to be addressed in a mix. Even to a non-trained ear, I mean, even if someone doesn't know how to articulate what's wrong, they know something's wrong. What I'm speaking specifically of is more of the subtle detunings that can be going on inside of a multi-track that are not intentional. And I really wasn't made aware of a lot of this stuff. I didn't know how to connect the dots. Earlier on in my career, I just thought the equalizer was the solution to everything. And I wouldn't realize why I would be so challenged with some tracks as to why I couldn't dial things in the way I could in other tracks or whatever it was. There was just this kind of lack of awareness of something that was going on underground, behind the scenes, so to speak, that I was just not aware of. Well, I found myself suddenly mixing a ton of music and projects that were generated with modular synths and Eurorack synthesizers. Individual modules that people use to build a synthesizer sound, basically. So I would get these tracks from guys and I would put them up and I would start looking at them and I would just be like, oh my goodness, like what's going on? And I'd really have to step back and look. You have to understand this whole business of, without getting into a whole tutorial about what a modular synth is, the difference is a synthesizer that comes from a factory that has preset sounds in it, those are already in tune from the factory. You can plug that synthesizer in and start overdubbing normally, and it just sounds great. So you literally build a synthesizer sound using many modules. The key to that, of course, is that each one of those modules has to be tuned by hand, like manually. And that, of course, that can open up a can of worms. So it was the repeated process of going through these modular tracks and tuning everything before I would start to mix. The result that, the transformation that would happen in that song from the time that I started that process until the end would be just unbelievable. And it was a great thing for me to experience because this awesome aware moment for me where I realized that every single track that comes across my desk, the very first thing that I do is I carefully listen to every track that artist has given me to work with. But I very much pay attention to the tuning of those tracks. And if I hear issues that are not intentional, and of course I use my own experience and judgment on whether or not something is pulled slightly flat or sharp on purpose, there can be times when that is very effective, and particularly with a big, heavy 3-piece rock band or something. But I'm talking about like the relationship between those 3 tracks that make up your kick drum or the 4 sounds that make up a snare drum. Going into these, and listening to the snare and the kick against the bass guitar and listening to the tonal relationship to those instruments and paying attention to the tuning, because I mean it, like a kick drum, one of those 3 mics or sounds that ends up making your kick drum, it might only be a slight bit flat or sharp over, relative to the other 2 and compared to the bass. But if you fix that tiny detune thing, your mix just sings. Everything just starts to sing and resonate. And so that you can imagine when you take the time to go through every track and listen to it first against concert pitch, against standard pitch, and make sure that the song is generally in tune, but then to dive into that song and start paying attention to the relationship of tuning among instruments. So the next time you're starting a mix, I suggest going a little bit deeper into the track and Pay attention to the individual tuning of everything. Bring it all together so that it sings true, and then start your mix and watch what happens. Well, thank you for sitting in on today's session, and I encourage you to please leave a comment or by all means share a topic that we can do a whole session on. And if you like today's session, please consider subscribing to my channel.